Welcome all. Let's see here. Let everybody get in. I'm a little bit early. Let's see here. Okay. This out of the way. All right, everybody. Welcome. Thanks to the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame for having me on here. I'm going to do some Badly songs tonight. And they usually do a bunch of covers in these things. Yeah, Brock, I left the dogs in the house. They misbehaved last time. They were making too much noise. Anyway, so anybody here that listening tonight that, if you have heard, first of all, Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, the Badleys was a band I was in for many, many years. Myself and Pete and Ron and Paul and Jeff, and then we had other guys come in, Aaron and Dustin and Nike and Bob played with us for a while, and our road guys, Keith and Scott, and there's a whole, and Tim and Steve, and who am I forgetting? There's piles of us. Anyway, but over the years we had a lot of fun, played a lot of good music, made a lot of good records. I think, by my estimation, they were pretty decent. And I'm gonna play some songs here. If you're listening to this and you haven't heard any of the Badleys' music, I'll try to weave a few tall tales. Maybe I can hold your attention for a while. If you haven't heard the music, you're not familiar with it. If you are familiar with it, you probably heard the songs a bunch of times, and maybe I'll say something different that you don't know. Anyway, the first song I'm gonna play is called Gwendolyn. This is one of two girl songs named after girls. On the River Songs album, and I was thinking today, I don't know if I ever wrote another girl song after those two. And Angeline, the lyrics, and most of the music on that song was written by Mike Nadok. So this is one of my very few, songs that I named after a person's name. But anyway, I named it after, it's the name of my grandmother. My grandmother's name was Gwendolyn. The funny thing in my family is, like, it gets really confusing because nobody is called by their own names. I think my grandmother's name, I am not positive what it is on her gift certificate. On her birth certificate, I think it's Gwendolyn on her birth certificate. She was also called Jane. That was a popular name for my grandmother, and probably more of us called her Jane than Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn was her formal name. Anyway, and then my mother's name was, she was called Sharon, but her first name was Eva. And my dad's name was actually Francis, but everybody called him Norm, and his name wasn't Norm at all. That was just a nickname when he was a kid. And they called him that his whole life. And he hated Francis. I always, for any of you that ever saw that movie Stripes, with the psycho guy, don't call me Francis. I always was kind of convinced that somehow the guy that wrote that knew my father. But anyway, in my name, actually, my first name, I go by my middle name as well. And my middle name is Bret, but my first name is George, believe it or not. So George Bret, I was named after my grandfather. And any baseball fans out there will, my grandmother was a Kansas City Royals fan for her entire life because of that. But I wasn't named after him. That didn't work out. All right. Anyway, the song Gwendolyn was, named after my grandmother. Not really about my grandmother. Just a neat little song, a little pop song that I wrote along the way. The last verse I always thought was cool because in music circles there used to be a thing called a pirate copyright, and you could take you could take your song and put it on some sort of like a cassette or a CD or something and mail it to yourself, and that would kind of hold up as, you know, that would be postmarked, and then if somebody stole your tune, you could take the envelope and open it up, and then you would have some sort of dated proof that you had this pirate copyright. So I ended up putting that in this song as like a means of like somebody breaking up with their significant other, and, you know, they put this, you know, they wrote this letter to themselves and then mailed it back to themselves, just so, you know, the significant other would know how long it was that the other one was pissed at her or him. But anyway, you know, food for thought. Maybe somebody wants to try that. But anyway, this is called Gwendolyn. Here we go. Gonna bang a picture, gonna put it in a frame. Well, I can show you how I'm feeling without having to explain. And you can hang it from your ceiling in your safe and happy home. You come to understand it, you know you're not alone. But once upon a time, we could speak of my Now I don't believe you, Gwendolyn. I don't believe you're all that strong. I don't believe you know the dangers of this road you're traveling on. You're always asking questions that you know the answers to. So tell me please, what do you want from me? I'm gonna write a song, gonna tell it like it is. If you recognize yourself, I know you're going to be pissed. If you call me on it, I'll deny it through and through. Just like Woody Allen would if he were in my shoes. Once upon a time, we could speak of my Now I don't believe you, Gwendolyn. I don't believe you're all that strong. I don't believe you know the dangers of this road you're traveling on. You're always asking questions that you know the answers to. So tell me please, what do you want from me? To myself, sincerely and forever, you and yours can go to hell. And then I put it in my pocket, so when this all comes crashing down, I have a way to show you how long I've been wearing down. But once upon a time, we could speak on my Now I don't believe I don't believe you're all that strong. I don't believe you know the dangers of this road you're traveling on. You're always asking questions that you know the answers to. So please, what do you want from me? Now I don't believe you, Gwendolyn. I don't believe you're all that strong. I don't believe you know the dangers of this road you're traveling on. You're always asking questions that you know the answers to. So tell me please, What do you want from me? Yeah, tell me please. What do you want from me? There we go, Gwendolyn. There we go. All right. Number one. And I said this when I shared this around. I am doing all badly stuff, you know, in honor of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame having me on here, because we're being inducted this year, as I said before, and I thought that would be appropriate. Thanks to Brandon for letting me take over the airwaves here for tonight. This next one is called Vigilante for the Golden Rule. Vigilante for the Golden Rule. This one was on a record about 8 years ago now, called Epiphones in Empty Rooms. This is one of my favorites off that record. It was, this is like one of those songs that was just like, I just made it up. There's no deep, I came up with a title, which is sometimes what happens, you just come up with this cool title, and I just thought it would be cool to kind of like go through, you know, take some characters from history or folklore or any popular legendary characters, and kind of, you know, portray them as vigilantes for the golden rule, just kind of going out there and exacting justice in the name of right and wrong. And so that's what this is. This is called Vigilante for the Golden Rule. And here we go. Robin Hood, he went a thieving across the countryside. If you were rich and greedy, he'd rob you till you cried. Oh, some say he shot the sheriff, and he shot the deputy too. He didn't protest swine or sue. He was a vigilante for the golden rule. I'm gonna get me an El Camino, a bulldog I can train. I wanna hunt me down some robber barons and kick ass and take names. Ever since I was a young boy, that's what I wanted to do. Now being an investigator might be cool. I'd rather be a vigilante for the golden rule. King Solomon was a merry old soul with a big old belly laugh. If you didn't stop your bitching, he saw your kids in half. Oh, some say that's just a legend. Oh, but I believe it's true. King Solomon wouldn't take no shit from you. He was a vigilante for the golden rule. I wanna get me an El Camino and a bulldog I can train. I wanna hunt me down some derelicts and kick ass and take names. Yeah, since I was a young boy, it's what I wanted to do. Now being the president might be cool. I'd rather be a vigilante for the golden rule. Jesus was a badass. He put the money and change to shame. And now if you got $20, you get a t-shirt with his name from some guy on the TV. Oh, wearing $300 shoes. Oh, Mary and Joseph couldn't raise no fool. He was a vigilante for the golden rule. I wanna get me an El Camino and a bulldog I can train. I wanna hunt me down some hypocrites and kick ass and take names. Ever since I was a young boy, was what I wanted to do. Now being an evangelist might be cool. I'd rather be a vigilante for the golden rule. I'd rather be a vigilante for the golden rule. I'd rather be a vigilante for the golden rule. There we go, vigilante for the golden rule. Let's see what we got here. All right. Okay. All right, good enough. Anyway, that's Vigilante for the Golden Rule. Next one down the line. Well, first of all, I want to mention with the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, congrats to the other inductees. It was Jeffrey Gaines. We've played a few times with Jeffrey early on. I think maybe like at the Lifties or something like that down in Harrisburg. Way early on, when he was just getting a record deal and getting out there. It's been amazing from the beginning. Hailstorm, the Hailstorm, Lizzie and those guys used to, RJ, used to open up for us in Hershey when I think she was probably 16 years old at the time, and they did very well for themselves. And the Dorsey brothers, posthumously, of course. Everybody knows who Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey are, and from Chendo, and of course Pentagon. Those guys been around for a long, long time, and they deserve it. So there you go. Congratulations to all the inductees. I don't think they've announced the individual awards yet, but we look forward to seeing y'all down there when we have this thing. The next song is called Luther's Windows. Luther's Windows was on an album called Up There Down Here, in about 1999. This song is kind of a word salad, believe it or not. Like, the actual inspiration of what got me started on this song is I just bought a house, and the house had these windows that were like real low to the ground, and our dog would go through and kind of like press its nose up to the windows, so all the windows had these dog nose prints on them, and strange enough, I just thought that was a lonely image. This poor dog, he was well cared for, but he wanted to go outside, and we had a couple parrots, so the parrot made its way. We had a cockatoo and a conure, conure and a cockatiel, so little menagerie at the time. Those birds, if you listen to on the same album Up There Down Here, if you listen to, there's a little instrumental song called Cellar Bird and Zither. You can hear them singing along because the song was actually recorded in my basement. And the dog's name was Bosco, and Bosco showed up on another song on that album, which is Love All. And so, you know, working my pets into my songwriting. Paul McCartney always did that. He's like, I know, like Jet was his dog, was a song by Wings, and Martha, My Dear was, I believe, his dog as well. So, you know, hey, wherever you can get the ideas from, you got to put your pets, you got to put your dog in a song every once in a while. So anyway, got a lot of words to this song. I don't play it often, so I'm just going to keep these here in case I lose my way. All right, Luther's Windows. Luther's windows are lit up with nothing, a crystal, a picture, a dead potted sage, a dusty white curtain, and those prints of a dog, a shot glass collection from his truck driving days. Luther's bedroom is hot as an oven, with air that's as stale as old forgotten bread. The cage on the dresser, there's a parrot that talks, but a name over and over is all that it says. Turn your back to the sun, you see only shadows. Look beneath the stars, you see only night. Like a homesick sailor, Luther standing in the window, watching the world floating by him tonight. Luther's hands once held a chain, keys to a home and a new Chevrolet. Lives with his mother, steals all her liquor, chain smokes and stares at the ceiling for days. When you're back to the sun, you see only shadows. You look beneath the stars, you see only night. Like a homesick sailor, Luther standing in the window, watching the world floating by him tonight. Watching the world floating by him tonight. Luther sitting by himself on the sofa, his head bowed down but his eyes are open wide, having a one-man revival with an electronic Bible, listening to the parade going by. And the bass drum is pounding, the trumpets are bleeding, reading a verse from St. John. The trickle of light seeps through the blinds, He pulls down the shade until he makes up his mind. But turn your back to the sun, you see only shadows. Look beneath the stars, you see only night. Like a homesick sailor, Luther standing in the window, watching the world floating by him tonight. It's floating by him tonight. It's floating by him tonight. Yeah, it's floating by him tonight. Here we go, Luther's Windows. Like that one. All right, where are we going next? Thanks everybody for tuning in. In my laundry list of people I was mentioning, I neglected to mention Terry Selders. Which Terry was our manager for many years, and he got us a record deal. So he He certainly deserves credit for that. Thanks, Terry. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna refresh my little thingy here. I've upgraded. I resurrected my daughter's laptop here. And see what we got going on here. There we go. Okay. Of course, I put this laptop back to use today, so I'm still figuring out how to use it in front of you people. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, this next song. This next song I wrote in a song cycle of tunes, a whole pile of songs we wrote for the Epiphones and Empty Rooms album from about 2013. This song, I got at the time we were writing these songs, it's kind of like a lot of times the songwriting thing, you get in a cycle. Part of it, some of it just comes to you, but it's kind of like you got to get into a discipline of writing. So I was working on like a 5-song a week clip for 14 weeks or something like that. So we figured, what's that? That's 70 songs. So we were figuring, just get into the discipline of writing these songs each week. And along the way, you start doing things like giving yourself little challenges, or you'll just, if you don't have any sort of anything you're really excited about, you might just go down and blow out a song that you really don't intend to use just to make your quota for the week. And this was one of those songs. I had a friend that at the time he was dying of cancer. He was a harmonica player, Nick. And I wrote this song, with him in mind. I was hoping that I could get him to play on it, but he ended up passing away before the record came out. And then as I progressed through the song, it became more just sort of life-affirming type of song. I mean, the name of the song is "Life is Beautiful," and it wasn't ever supposed to be on a record. It was just a song I wrote for myself, and I thought that it was a little too sweet and a little too simple, and I probably, if it had been my call, I probably would have chickened out putting it on a record. Not that I didn't like it, I did, but I would have probably chickened out. But then it went through the conduit of everybody, the band members and everybody, and it was getting a few thumbs up. People saying, "Oh, it has something. It's simple, but it has something." So that was one of those times where, sometimes you have something that's halfway decent and you don't even know it, and you can overthink it, and you probably a few people, probably songwriters far better than I, have put things on the cutting room floor that really shouldn't have. Sometimes if you ever make your way listening to any like retrospectives by like Dylan or some Pop Dylan or something, you're like, you see get some unreleased track and you're like, what was he thinking? This is incredible, But that's what bandmates are for, right? Among many other things. All right, this life is beautiful. You wonder why I smile, all I feel is pain. You wonder why I laugh, and all it rain down on me, down on me. I say life is beautiful, life is beautiful, life is beautiful to me. Played my songs for money, played my songs for free. Truth be told about it, it never mattered much to me. Either way, either way, because life is beautiful, life is beautiful, life is beautiful. And I just want to play. The sky is getting dark, it's getting hard to see, but the moon is shining full, shining down on you and me. And I say, and I say, life is beautiful, life is beautiful, life is beautiful today. Life is beautiful today. There we go. Life is beautiful. There it is. Thank you. All right, give me a sec. I'm going to see if I can get these comments up so I can see what everybody's saying. All right. I'm getting there. All right, I'm seeing a few people here. Oh, we got Ed Foley. Hey, Eddie. How you doing, buddy? Ed and I lined up against each other playing football more than once. Ed now works for the Carolina Panthers. You're special teams coach, right, Ed? Okay, let's see what else we got here. I think I saw, excuse me if I'm wrong, I saw Terry in there. Terry, I hope, Terry and Gina, hello. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. I'm working my way through. Okay. All right. This next one, everybody that knows the band probably knows this song. This is Angelina's Coming Home. This was a single for us. This is their most publicized single as far as, you know, when we were out there, you know, in the top 40 and all that kind of stuff. Did a lot of touring around this song. Story I'm going to tell about Angeline is coming home. The lyrics, and you know, certainly myself and the band were involved in the arrangement and the recording, of course, and all that kind of stuff, you know. But you know, the lion's share of this song is my writing partner's song, Mike Nadok, who I wrote many songs with over the years. Excuse me. And Mike's got a unique approach to lyrics. I love it. You know, I always loved it. I always couldn't wait to get a new Mike lyric to dig into. But this particular song, this was like right after we did our second record, which is called The Unfortunate Result of Spare Time. We started, as soon as the album came out, we started writing immediately. We started writing and playing live new songs immediately, like before it was even out. This was the first one we did, I remember, and of what became the River Songs album. And then, you know, time went on, and about a year or so, and then we got a record deal, and then we went, this is the song, the only song that we did a big budget video on, like a big budget music MTV, VH1 video. We did it on the A&M lot in Hollywood, same stage where We Are the World was filmed, if you're old enough to know what We Are the World is. And before, you know, this is the only time we've ever done, like, we'd ever done a large video, you know, like a big budget video. And they asked us for concepts. I remember them asking for concepts. And there's a lyric in the song about bathtub virgins, a bathtub virgin, right? And what a bathtub virgin is, especially if you're in Northeast PA, you might know, is like a lot of the Catholic homes in the area take like an old, you know, cast iron bathtub, they cut it in half, put it up on its side like an amphitheater, and then they put the Virgin Mary in it, like sort of like a lawn ornament in their yard. And I mean, I could drive around, you know, from where I live here, I could drive around and find you a half dozen of them right from here. And but you know, most people, not common knowledge, what a bathtub virgin would be. So I'm saying, oh, you know, I want to put a, you know, and I remember the guy Bret that was kind of like talking to us about concepts and stuff, saying, so you want to put an upside down bathtub in a music video? They did not understand the concept of. They said, well, how about we just get somebody famous to direct it? You know, so they got Anthony Edwards, who was Dr. Green on ER, and also Juliana Margulies from ER at the time, many other things later, and we did this big budget video. We showed up, and they had like they had a bunch of kids there that were part of the video, like they were dressed as like school kids. And they were all, you know, 7, 8, somewhere around in that age. And they lined us all up with the kids, or just kind of got us all gathered together. And they said, well, how many of you guys have ever been in a big budget music video before? None of the band raised their hands. Every one of the kids raised their hands. So the kids all had more experience in this than we did. And you know, so it was like culture shock for us, because it's like we got the bill afterwards, and the catering for the music video shoot cost more than we had spent on the album. You know, just the catering, just for the sandwiches and shit like that. So this was like, you know, not in Kansas anymore, moment for us. But had a lot of fun with this tune. Got to play around a lot of great places. So here it is. I'm going to try it. I don't sing this all that often, but I'm going to give it a shot. This is Angeline's Coming Home.
Parents' house exudes a reborn air. The bathtub virgins in the midnight air, they seem to smile in celebration. What an intercession. all inertia washed away. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. I fantasize to clean at home again. The quintessential reverend free of pain. Just to keep on going crazy while the cracks are clean. Now that fantasy sustains. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. The beautiful acquaintance I desired has inspired me to levels unforeseen. To admiration for someone who's made it back from the hell she was in. The hell she was in. When do I see her? What's there when I do? I let fantasized ideals come through. To hear her laugh at my hyperbole that would send me. It's nice to have a home and home. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming home. Resplendence and dignity. Angeline is coming. Angeline is coming. Angeline is coming home. She's coming home. She's coming home. She's coming home.
There we go. Angeline is coming home. All right, let's tune this baby. Hope everybody's having a good time. Oh, Janine, Dustin's mom, Janine's mom. Welcome. Tune because we care, right? So one person here was saying tangerines no grow at home. You know, nobody could figure out what the lyrics were to that song. I just went through the feed. I lost it. Who that was? Okay. But at one point up here in this area, there was a radio contest. They had a radio contest to a radio contest, and the name of the radio contest was "What in the hell is Pete saying?" and they'd play little lyrics to the song, and you won a prize if you knew what it was. This is before Google, of course. And I still Google some of these songs lyrics because I haven't played them in a long time. All right, this next one, it's off of an album called Amazing Grace. I'm going to play a couple songs from this album. This album was released right around let's say, in fact, I know when it was. It was like April Fool's Day, 1999. And I'll tell you why that's significant. Because we got in we were in this record deal, and then, long story, there was a merger, and we were like waiting around, and we were in this situation where, you know, we'd spent 6 years trying to get this record deal. We got this deal, we did this great touring, we had a lot of success. We started making another record, we kind of got that finished, we were waiting to go out on the road again, do the same thing over again, go another little step up the ladder, and then our label got purchased by, and like 700 groups, artists, bands were like refugees, all at the same time. Including us. Last week I played a Patty Griffin song. She was another one. She was one of the refugees that ended up, you know, with an album that didn't get released for 7 years or something like that. But anyway, we were waiting around. I think it was like somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 months, and everybody's starting to ask questions about where's a new album, you know, where is it? And at this time, it's supposed to be the album that was up there down here, which is the album that Luther's Windows was on. And that was already done, in the can. And while we're waiting around for about a year, Paul and I started recording in the basement of my house. And we had these little, any audio geeks out there might remember, they had these little Roland 880s and 1680s, these little tiny digital recorders. And we started experimenting with songs and doing all these different things, in our basement, in my basement. And, you know, in a way that we ended up with a fair amount of songs that we did while we were waiting. And this drug on and drug on and drug on, and we was kind of like we couldn't, you know, we didn't have a job, but we couldn't go get another one. You know, we were still under contract, so we couldn't go look for another label. So, and we weren't really getting any sort of attention, or people weren't dealing with us, you know. It was kind of hard to get people on the phone, blah, blah, blah. So we decided we're going to make another record. We're going to make another record. We're under contract, so you can't do that. You know, that's, no, they're just going to shut you down. But we thought, well, maybe if they hear us on the radio, they'll call us. And so we made this record. And this song is called I'm Not Here Anymore. This is the first song off of the Amazing Grace album. And so we made this record, and we released it right on April Fool's Day. And we got released, might have been April 2nd. It was right around April Fool's Day. But, and we got released from our contract the same day. So, and then as that worked out, then this album came out, then was out for a few months, and then somebody else wanted to, you know, swan the up to down here, so we stopped promoting. You know, it was a trying time in our lives. But we're really proud of a lot of these songs on this Amazing Grace album, and this song I'm Not Here Anymore especially. And while I'm telling long stories, I'm going to tell a story about this song. So basically what I wanted to write is I wanted to write a song about, you know, sort of, you know, putting your faith in sort of, not literally like a false god, not in any religious sense, you know, just kind of going after the wrong things, listening to the wrong things, and I wanted to do it as an allegory, kind of like, and it was going to be, I was rereading some Mark Twain at the time, and Mark Twain always had these stories where he would be like whatever character would be going along, and then he'd meet another character, and then there'd be that character that he met would tell another story, so it'd be a story within a story, and you know, and he did a lot of things with, you know, talking animals and things like this. So it was going to be this allegorical sort of story, you know. And believe it or not, the name of the song was going to be Senior Pumpkin was the original name of the song, and the whole thing was going to be like, you know, these animals are walking down these train tracks and they're, you know, they run into and these people who are listening to me think I'm freaking crazy, but anyhow, they were going to be walking along, and then they come upon this pumpkin and it's all lit up, you know, and they start to sort of worship it as, you know, some sort of deity, and eventually whatever, you know, the candle inside of it burns out and they realize that it's hollow, and that was sort of the idea. But the song sucked. It was awful. So I backed up and I punted, and then I ended up writing a song sort of about the same thing, but much more universal in general. And that's a really long, to make a short story long, that's how I got to I'm Not Here Anymore. And in the bridge, you'll still hear a little tiny remnant of the original idea. So here we go, Not Here Anymore. You have reached a number and a name, but I am gone and won't be back again. If you wish to leave a word or two, here it is. You know what to do. Speak your mind, save yourself some time. That's what machines are for. But I'm not here anymore. Well, I'm not here anymore. I had a friend who had a lady affair, took his own life just to prove he cared. Now her and her new man, yes, they're doing fine on everything they generously left behind. The note he left said, save your breath, don't ask me what for, I'm just not here anymore. Yeah, once upon a time, as the story's often told, the people bowed and prayed around a calf of gold. Now the weeds are taking over where the garden used to grow. Some things a man can conquer, some things he must let go. Some things he must let go. But we must let go. I rode over crop and spoon, and I conclude that the kingdom's doomed. But I have schemed, I waited and prayed, had my dreams attractively displayed. So sit your time, speak your mind, that's what regimes are for. But I'm not here anymore. And once upon a time, as the story's always told, the people bowed and prayed around a calf of gold. And now the leaves are taking over where the flowers used to grow. Oh, I'm not here anymore. Yeah, I'm not here anymore. Yeah, I'm not here anymore. There we go. I'm not here anymore. Thank you for sitting through that long story if you're still here. All right. Okay, next song is also from the Amazing Grace record. It's sort of the title track. It's called Amazing Grace to You. This one, like I said, we were doing a lot of bizarro things, just trying things out. We weren't on a schedule to write any sort of record, obviously. It ended up being a record. Paul and I and Ronnie would come by, and we were just kind of trying things, doing things, whatever came to mind in my basement. And this one was one particular day I decided that okay, I'm going to write a record in one day. I'm going to write a whole record in one day. You know, this is how long we were waiting around, and I started it, and I got about 5 or 6 tunes in, and then I just got bored with the idea before I finished it. But I did get 5 or 6 tunes, and I think 2 or 3 ended up being on the Amazing Grace record. This song being one of them from that day. This song was kind of different because we were experimenting with some technology, doing different vibes that we hadn't done before. This song, for you musical people out there, this song is kind of in a weird time signature. It's in 5/4. The rhythm is, if you're aware of any jazz standards, there's a jazz standard called take 5, 4. Like, and it's like, So this song is in 5/4, and it has that same rhythm as take 5, because it's like. And that was what we did. That was, write a song in 5. We did, most rock and roll songs or pop or country bluegrass, whatever, popular music, most of it's in 4/4, or it's a waltz, like it's in 3/4, 6/8, sometimes 6/4. But the vast majority isn't in an odd time signature. Certainly, many bands, the Beatles, Soundgarden, Led Zeppelin, everybody experiments with time signatures. But by and large, there aren't a whole pile of songs in 5 in pop music. So that was something we wanted to do. So what we did was we just got a click track and a drum machine, and we had Ronnie play a bunch of grooves in 5. So we'd take them and we'd record them, and then Paul would put them, like on a drum, like it was a hip hop record. He'd like put all the loops on pads, and then just kind of play the drum part with his fingers, and just kind of put it all together. That way, would be more of a pop track, or like not typical of us. We were more of a au natural, play the song kind of band, certainly. But this one was different. We got a bunch of loops from Ron, and Paul just kind of went through, and we made a sequence, and that was a drum track to this song. And I don't really know, we never really did a lot of that from there. After that, that was kind of a little bit different for us. Like I said, we were always kind of working in a real organic way where everybody plays the song. But anyway, that's the story of Amazing Grace, and this has got a lot of neat little chords and stories and in one song, and I'm real proud of this one. It's called Amazing Grace to You. There was a man who sang the blues. No one could deny it spoke the truth. Shouted through the microphone, but no one could care less. Lived his life anonymously, was rediscovered posthumously. Now people quote his words, talk about his tragic death. But ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Yeah, there was a man who told a lie.
with a twinkle in his eye. People came from all around to stand by his side. Yeah, people sell their souls away for a little false hope and some unfounded praise. There's always somebody out there who's happy to oblige. Oh, ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Amazing grace, amazing grace to you. Amazing grace, amazing grace to you. Oh, he met her in a college bar, talked his way into a car. She fell in love with him, I guess. Same time he lost interest. Now it takes a hit off of his bone while she listens to country songs. To the young man. Oh, ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Amazing grace, amazing grace to you. Amazing grace, amazing grace to you. To you. To you. To you. Oh, there's a place in my father's home where I still go to be alone. Demons visit me there, yeah. Sometimes we share a cigarette. Yeah, they laugh and whisper in my ear. Tell me what I want to hear. The devil has so many friends. Amazing grace, amazing grace to you. Amazing grace, amazing grace to you. Yeah, to you. To you. Yeah, ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? Ain't that the way, ain't that the way, ain't that the way it goes? There we go. Amazing grace to you. All right. What do we got going on here? Okay, next one. Let's see what I'm missing here. See Colby checking in. Colby Snyder, how you doing, buddy? Haven't seen him in a while. Okay, let's see here. All right.
This next one is from the Badleys. Let's see here. Okay, the next one is from the Badleys' second album. It was called, second full-length album. This was called "Unfortunate Result of Spare Time," and Rebecca requested this one, so I'll play that for her. And this is a co-write with Mike Nadok. This is called "Tore Down Flat in Jackson." This record was an interesting. This is kind of like, this record was kind of a transition for us, musically, and we had our buddy Jack Pyers produce this album, and really kind of we started to get into really diving into details of songs, and I really credit Jack for, kind of, I learned a lot about sweating the details at that period of time. This song is a pretty good example of that. Once again, I had to Google this one. I had to thank goodness it was on there. We printed out the lyrics, and then I sang this on a live stream about a month ago. But this will be the second time in about 20 years. This is probably from like 1993. All right, anyway. Tore Down Flat in Jackson.
Filthy and anonymous in Jackson, dozen keys to nowhere in his head. Black Madonna, won't you change his love and find him 50 grand? Because he's tore down months from nowhere, with the day-to-day out of his hand. One key fit the door to her apartment, another fit the business he let die. Stray dog whines as the August rain turns naked ground to mud, and it's tore down feeling nothing but the third-rate spirits in his blood. And he's living for a ticket on a whiskey train. The saddest thing is to see him venerate that ball and chain. The roadhouse corn done cut his strings to somewhere. The paper rich done mad a ball of fire. The black dog cloud done filled his head and drained him like a vampire. Now it's tore down flat in Jackson, with the daily gig and the backdrop choir. Train. Saddest days to see him venerate that ball and chain. wig dancers, a TV from a filling station's heard is holding up the wall. The woman says it all without a word. Oh, this tore down flat in Jackson went halfway to the label, cleaned it clear. Yeah, it's tore down, world stopped moving. Well, halfway to the label, claimed it cured. Oh, it claimed it cured. Yeah, he's tore down, world stopped moving. When halfway the label claimed it cured. There we go. Tore down Flat in Jackson. There we go. See several posts from Brock. Brock, brother of the Flask. It's good to see you. I didn't see anything from Phil. I don't know if he's out there now. Probably. Okay, so next on the agenda here. This is the third final song I'm going to play from the Amazing Grace album. This is the most songs off this album I've played in one sitting in a while. This one, we got into, among other things, like trying to do a record in a day and, doing stuff with drum machines, and we're just experimenting, doing all these different things. Another thing we got into, I personally got into writing songs. I started writing songs on instruments I didn't really know how to play. We had some time on our hands. So I had this tenor banjo that I never played, and I ended up getting it in a trade with a guy when I was buying something else. So I decided, I'm going to write a song on this tenor banjo. And this is the song I wrote. I wrote this song. This song is called Poison Ivy. And so I actually went out in the woods and got a case of poison ivy. I wish it was more poetic than that. And I'm sitting with my poison ivy, learning how to play the tenor banjo. And then I came up with this song. And I kind of came up with the whole idea of kind of like, love being like, a vaccination, like they feed you a little bit of disease and then you can handle it. So, this was also a request. I think Neil requested this one. Anyway, Poison Ivy. I like this tune. You are my poison ivy, you are my disease. You are what I must walk through to get to what I need. You are my vaccination, you're my Cheshire cat. You are my situation, and I give thanks for that. But it seems like we've come a long way, yeah, yeah. Seems like we've come a long way. You temptation, you're under my skin. You are my reminder of where I shouldn't have been. But it seems like we've come a long way, yeah, yeah. Seems like we've come a long way. It seems like we've come a long way, yeah, yeah. Seems like we've come a long way. I know what this is. I know what this is. I've been here before. I know what this is. I know what this is. I've been here before. And it seems like we've come a long way, yeah, yeah. Seems like we've come a long way. You are my poison ivy. You're my fleur de lis. You are what I must cling to get to what I need. To get to what I need. To get to what I need.
There we go, Poison Ivy. Like that one. Okay. For all you still out there listening, I thank you so much for spending your Friday night with me. I enjoy doing these, and it keeps me busy, keeps me sane, and you know, they're fun. And I plan to continue them after. We're gigging and out there and doing things again, just because I enjoy it, and not everybody can come out to a show on any given night. So, okay. Next song. Let me tune this baby here real quick. There's the gold. Okay. Next song. I wrote this one while on Route 6. I grew up in a town in Bradford County, Pennsylvania, way up in the mountains. I always said when the kids were small, I said, take them up to their grandmother's, you literally go over the river and through the woods to get to grandmother's house. Anyway, Route 6, you know, there's a beautiful road, and you know, you take that road from like Tunkhannock, PA, up to Towanda, and you know, it's just a really beautiful drive. And that was the road I would take when I'd go home, and I wrote this song about 2008 or so, just kind of a song about, it originally was supposed to be about a soldier coming home from war. I was watching this, I can't remember what the special was, but I remember that they were interviewing this one guy that, I believe he was it was an older show, he was a World War II veteran, and he was saying, you know, he was talking about Normandy, and he was just saying, you know, it was war and life got cheaper, but you know, every one of those kids was, you know, some mother's child and some father's son. And I put that in the last verse of this song. And as I worked on it, I kind of worked a bunch of my own history into the song. So that's it. It's about the ties that bind, I guess. So this is called Drive Back Home.
Took a ride up through the mountain to the edge of my hometown. Made me feel just like an angel looking down. All the places I remember, all the people still the same, all the things I ran away from that remain. Oh, my life is like a drive back home. Can't you hear me singing? Can't you hear me singing? Oh, my life is like a drive back home. And I know why leaves were falling in the graveyard. My grandmother's body lied. Then I swear I heard her singing as she cried, cried, cried. Oh, my life is like a drive back home. Can't you hear me singing? Can't you hear me singing? Oh, my life is like a drive back home. And I know why. There ain't nowhere that you can run to. There ain't nowhere that you can go. There ain't nowhere that you can run to. There ain't nowhere that you can go. They say that nothing lasts forever. They say that all will be in vain. But I say that if struggle is the thunder, love is rain, rain, rain. And there may not be forgiveness for all the things I've done, but I'm still my mother's child, my father's son. Oh, my life is like a drive back home. Can't you hear me singing? Can't you hear me singing? Oh, my life is like a drive back home. And I know why. There ain't nowhere that you can run to. There ain't nowhere that you can go. There ain't nowhere that you can run to. There ain't nowhere that you can go. There ain't nowhere that you can run to. There ain't nowhere that you can go. There ain't nowhere that you can run to. There ain't nowhere that you can go.
And there we go. Drive Back Home. It's one of my, I like that song. One of my favorites that I've written. That's up there pretty good. This next song, is called I Liked You Better When You Hated Yourself. It's the last song on River Songs, which is the album that other songs I played Gwendolyn, Angelin's Coming Home, and I Liked You Better was also on that record, last tune. I co-wrote this song with Bob Welsh, who is on the committee for the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. And hello to Bob, if you're anywhere near this. And we had a good time writing this song, and I just kind of had this idea for a song of, like, you know, a guy that gets his life together and then you can't stand him anymore, you know. And I got stuck in the middle, and Bob really helped me out and made the guy more annoying. So that drove, you know, the fictional guy more annoying than he really was. Well, I mean, it was you know, it was fictional. Anyhow, the last verse of the song, I told this story on post, because I did a cover of the song recently. If anybody sees it, you'll have to suffer through me telling this again. I had an uncle who ended up in prison, and he had this roommate, cellmate, that wrote a book. And I remember my grandmother telling me this story of, like, when you know, in the 70s, after he got out of prison, they're sitting at home, and his cellmate comes on TV, and he's on the Merv Griffin show, and they're watching him talk about this book he wrote about being in prison, and they're both kind of like dying laughing because the guy was plastered. He was drunk on this, and that was kind of like my uncle's great uncle, my grandmother's brother. That was kind of like one of his claims to fame, I suppose. And I always, I don't know, for some reason I always want to put it in the song, so I set it aside. And then when I was working on this song, I made that the last verse. I changed Merv Griffin to Donahue, which was another talk show in the 70s. So that was because you can't rhyme anything with Griffin that's, you know, that's usable. But anyway, this last year when I was working on this new song, I kind of dug into my grandmother's story to see if it was true. And it turns out that there actually was a book. The name of the book, she said the name of the book was Riot. The name of the book was The Riot. And you know, there he was, you know, the author. What was his name? Eli something? Forget the guy's name. But anyway, he wrote this book, and he wasn't on the Merv Griffin show. He was on the Mike Douglas show, which is also another talk show from the 70s. And as it turns out, that book was adapted into a movie, which was, I think, Gene Hackman and Jim Brown, among others. So, you know, my great uncle got a little claim to fame with his buddy who wrote a book, and his cellmate that wrote a book, and I eventually gave it a second act, and I put I put it into a song. So there you go. It was a long story about I Liked You Better. This was really popular on our live shows. Good drinking song. We used to drink our Bacardi behind the old school and picture about dreams that would never come true. Then you heard a calling that I hadn't felt. I liked you better when you hated yourself. Now you spend lots of time at that natural food place, buying fresh blocks of tofu, just like Mom used to make. You kicked your bad habits, you're in perfect health. But I liked you better when you hated yourself. Change you came a-blowing like we never met. You're in a child and you play games that I just don't get. Somewhere it's written that this too shall pass, but lately you've just been a pain in the ass. Me if I care, I guess I still do. Friends don't come easy, even assholes like you. And that shrink of yours, she can go straight to hell. I liked you
better when you hated yourself.
We were working on this song in the basement, and our practice room was in a half double. Practice room was in a half double in Selinsgrove on Orange Street. If anybody out there is from Selinsgrove, and the other half had a guy named Buzz that lived next door. Buzz was a fisherman, and Buzz was a good dude. I don't know whatever happened to Buzz, but I remember Buzz hated the yodeling in this song. He loved this song. He thought it was a great song. He heard us working on it the whole time, and he's like, I just thought it was a good song to put that damn yodeling in there. So here's our apology to Buzz. Yodeling. Last time I saw you, you were on Donahue, discussing your book and everything you've been through. Now you got your glamour, your fame, and your wealth, but I still liked you better when you hated yourself. I still liked you better when you hated yourself. I still liked you better when you hated yourself. You better when you hated yourself. There we go. Let's see what we got going on here. Alrighty. I thank my eldest daughter Harlow for sponsoring my brand new used laptop. This is awesome. I can actually see what's going on. Okay, so next. See if I can figure out where to put this guitar. I'll just set it up on top here. Everybody can still see me. Hopefully everybody can still see what I'm doing here. All right, I got time for two more. Thank you all once again for listening. And this one I have never played. I never sang it out loud or played it live 100 times. It's playing mandolin, but I've never sang it, and I printed out the lyrics, and I'm going to give it a shot. This is a cool song. I always loved this song. This song is called "Running Up That Hill." The story behind this song was we had this song for a while. We had. You know, this is all Mike. You know, Mike's lyrics, and you know, it's a classic. This is one of his finest, and we loved it. But we couldn't. What's one of the sometimes you got the song that you really dig, and you can't get it to sonically sound, you know, like to do the actual song itself justice, because you got to get the song to sort of occupy the right sonic space, so that the power of what's going on with just the bare bones can come through. And we couldn't get it, and we were doing this song kind of like as a slow mid-tempo sort of rock song, and it sounded like, you know, sort of like the end of Stairway to Heaven slowed down, but boring. And we messed with it forever, and we stuck with it for quite a while. We didn't give up on it. And then we were doing our pre-production in my basement, and a storm came through, I remember. And for however long it was, we lost power. So we didn't have any power at the time. You know, we were kind of down there in the dimly lit. It was during the day, but we were down there in, you know, dimly lit basement, and you know, Ron puts a, you know, was his coat or his blanket or whatever, towel over his snare drum and starts playing this little cadence. And I picked up a mandolin. We were playing it all electric before. And I start, you know, usually with a mandolin you don't play with your fingers, you usually play with a pick. And, you know, so start playing with my fingers, you know, with it. you know, playing like that, and we turned it into this really kind of lilting song, and you know, basically Mother Nature stepping in and taking the power away helped us find this one, and you know, however it happens, you know. So that was great. This is one of my favorites. This is from the Up There Down Here record. This is one of my favorites. Any of the songs from that catalog. So we're going to try to do this. Let's see how we do. Running Up That Hill. With rain, the sports arena loud. In the evening of a self-inflicted day, you contemplate insides that might collide. The Hemlock Society and life insurance salesman. You discover all your coupons are for things you hate, and your pennies are Canadian, and you curse that paperweight. Drown it all and leave it still. You're a millionaire of words. Hand in hand as light as birds. We'll go running up that hill. When acquaintances drain your reservoir of cigarettes like bad construction, and all the phone conversations slither into a sales pitch from the world of Don McRae, and a love from a closest sister's friendship up and die like it too often does. Drown it all and leave it still. You're a millionaire of words. Hand in hand as light as birds. We'll go running up that hill. The funeral director's trade show crowd strangles parking, so you drive a while past streets and neighborhoods and goals of incidents that now define you. When the weight of expectation cracks your countenance in the damnedest places. Drown it all and leave it still. You're a millionaire of words. The hand in light as birds. You'll go running up that hill. You're a millionaire of words.
gets heard, we'll go running up that hill.
There you go, Running Up That Hill. Love that song. I believe on YouTube there's a live version of this or two. It's pretty decent. If on Spotify, if you've never heard the song, check it out. I'm real proud of that recording. That's everybody did a great job on that one. That was a nice one. Okay. All right, what we got? Okay, Running Up That Hill. Last song. We're going to do, I got this in my hand. Thank you again to Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, Brandon, and everybody there for letting me do this tonight. I'll happily do it again if you want. And down the road. It's a great thing that they're doing. I've been an advocate for the Pennsylvania music scene for a long time, decades, and for being a small community, we fight way above our weight, in my opinion. I don't know exactly why that is, but it's true. A lot of the guys, we came up with, a lot of success stories in there. There was Jeffrey Gaines, and there was Badleys came right after that, and then there was Fuel, and right before us was Live, Breaking Benjamin, not counting, up here in Northeast PA, from a different scene, there's like the Menzingers and Motionless and Might and Tiger's Jaw and all these other bands, and then the other bands that didn't get their due, that were certainly deserving. So huge community of artists, and I'm happy to see them getting recognized by the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. There you go. Anyway, Fear of Falling. I'm just going to tell a funny story about Fear of Falling. Take a drink before you do that. I was very little, several years before I actually wrote this song. Just stupid story. But I lived out in this out in the woods, I had a couple roommates just out of college, and we had this place near Northumberland called Lithia Springs, and there was like these little cabins that were kind of out in the woods, and to my understanding, the place at one time had been some sort of a commune or something. There was always sort of little cabins and things. I haven't been out there since I lived there, so I don't know. I don't know what it looks like now, or who lives out there or what, but this is like, it's a few years before the Badleys got going. So one night, the Badleys were gigging, and I would go to the gig, and then I would come home late at night, and my roommates would be home. And this one particular night, I came home, and what was it in Luther's Windows, I was talking about my birds. Well, I had one of them at the time, and his name was Jasper. Jasper was a cockatiel. He was a tough-ass dog, tough-ass bird. And I'm sounding like I'm insane here, but I'll get to the point. But anyway, I come home from a gig, Badley's gig, and come home and walk into the house. There sits my roommate in his underwear, watching TV. He's watching The Godfather with him and the bird, and he's high. My roommate's like pretty high, and he's been feeding the seeds to the bird. So the bird's falling down, watching The Godfather, and they also had gotten one of these big tins of one of these big ass tins of those Christmas tins of cheese popcorn, right? So he's feeding the bird the seeds, and he's watching The Godfather, and he's sitting there in his underwear, and the bird's eating the popcorn and eating the seeds, and the bird's falling all over, and he's got this cheese popcorn all over his face, right? So then I watch him and the bird takes the cushions off, right, the couch, and then they're like digging through it looking for change because he got to work the next day and he doesn't have any money for coffee, right? So so the way it worked out was like he was just like searching through the sofa looking for change, and I just kind of logged that away, and years later put it in a song. So a very unlikely source of inspiration for that particular song. So anyway, this is my last one. Thanks so much for listening. Bet you didn't know that. And this is called Fear Falling.
Last night I dreamt of flying over hillsides in the snow, go down through the clouds to the valley there below. As the fields turned into parking lots, my freedom turned to dread. The ground rose up to greet me. I jumped up out of bed. Well, you can fly, 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 up to anywhere you choose. You can try, 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 but eventually you lose. Seems there's always something trying to bring a good man down. I have no fear of falling, but lay it in the ground. Come on. Searching through my soul, trying to find some extra change. I thought that I knew everything till everything changed. I'm standing on an island that is sinking into the sea. All that I can do is just enjoy the scenery. You can fly, 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 or to anywhere you choose. You can try, 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 but eventually you lose. And then in sweet soul music, just before you drown, I have no fear of falling, but I hate in the ground. I have no fear of falling, but I hate in the ground. You and I have politics, there's lines that we don't cross. We live happily ever after inside this little box. You just can't take a line and throw them into a cage and expect them to be thankful for the shelter that you gave. Well, you can fly, 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 walk to anywhere you choose. You can try, 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 but eventually you lose. The more you try to cling to me, the less I'll stick around. I have no fear of falling, but I hate in the ground. I have no fear of falling, but I hate in the ground. I have no fear of falling, but I hate in the ground. And the more you try to cling to me, the
no fear falling. And that is the end of my tall tales for the evening. Hope you enjoyed them. I think I'm insane. Enjoyed playing for y'all. I'll be back. I don't know. I'll figure that out. Figure out when the next one is. But thanks for tuning in. Great to see y'all. And thanks again to Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame for giving me let me take over the airwaves for tonight. And be well, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. See you.